Good evening, welcome back to my channel where today I'm going to attempt to predict game week 7 of the 2019-2020 SPFL Premiership season. Now let's have a quick look at how I did last week. Was a bit of a mixed week, it has to be said. Obviously, I predicted Livingston to beat Aberdeen 2-1. It finished 2-0 to Aberdeen. How that happened, I'll never know. Motherwell Ross County, I went for the 3-1 win for Motherwell. It was a 2-1 win to Ross County. Not good. St Mirren Hamilton, I went for a 1-0 win to St Mirren. It finished 0-0. Hamilton finished that game with 10 men as well. George Oakley being sent off, so he will be missing for this weekend. So Johnstone against Rangers, I went for a 3-1 win to Rangers and it finished 4-0. So that was a very good win for Rangers. Celtic Kilmarnock, I went for a 2-0 win to Celtic, it finished 3-1. So kind of in the ballpark there. And for Hibs at Hearts, I went for a 1-0 win to Hibs. It was a 2-1 win to the Jambos. So more pressure added on to Heckingbottom, or as I slipped up on the radio, I called him Paul Second Bottom. Yes, so, and it's the first game of the weekend is Hibs against Celtic. Now this is the early kick-off, it's a 12:30 kick-off, and I do believe that it is on BT Sport, I want to say, maybe Sky, not sure. So this will be very interesting. The last 5 between these sides have resulted in 3 wins to Celtic, 1 draw and 1 win to Hibs. The last meeting, in fact, was a 0-0. Now this was obviously when both sides were obviously sort of safe in that top 6, and obviously Celtic were going for the championship at that point as well. So an interesting game. Obviously, Celtic 5-0 winners over Partick Thistle last night. That was a very good result for Celtic, and especially because it was a very dominant performance. Hibs obviously being taken to penalties by Kilmarnock. They will be without Ryan Porteous though. He was sent off last night as well. So yeah, Hibs are on a very, very poor run, as I've said, and Paul Heckingbottom is definitely under pressure. You can definitely see that. Obviously, the fans are restless. There was a big protest after the Hearts game. I think there was a gathering of fans outside Easter Road that actually gathered to protest against Paul Heckingbottom. So that's a bit worrying as well. So but yeah, these next 2 games, I mean, they've got Celtic this weekend, they've got Aberdeen next weekend, then it's the international break, and then I think Hibs will have a decision to make whether to keep Heckingbottom. But I suppose they have made it to the semis where Hibs have got Celtic again. So this will be a very interesting game. Obviously Celtic coming off the back of a 3-1 win over Kilmarnock. Going behind, but then coming back. Obviously, Edward scoring again. He's on fire this season. He really, really is. Ryan Christie as well. He's scored as well. As far as this game goes, I don't think Hibs will be hammered. I don't see them getting a hammering. But I do think Celtic will win this one. I do think they'll go to Celtic Easter Road and yeah, pile up the pressure on Hibs manager Paul Heckingbottom even more, and obviously if results go the way that I believe they will, the Hibs could be bottom by the end of this weekend, so that'll be interesting as well. But for me, I'm going for a Celtic win. I'm going for Celtic to win this one by 2-0. Hamilton against Livingston. Now the last 5 meetings between these sides have resulted in 3 wins to Livingston, a draw and a Hamilton win, and the last game in fact was a 3-3 draw. Yeah, absolutely crazy game of football that one was. Obviously, Hamilton will be without George Oakley, as I've said. He was sent off for 2 yellow cards. I know Brian Rice was going to potentially appeal the second yellow given to him, but I think he will be missing. So that's a big blow for Hamilton, because ever since he's come into the team, they've done really, really well, and ever since he scored, they haven't lost. So, that's going to be another interesting one. Livingston, I know it's 3 defeats in a row, but having said that, 2 of them were against Rangers. Last weekend against Aberdeen, I wasn't at this game, unfortunately. I watched the highlights on the BBC Scotland channel. My goodness, how Livingston didn't even get anything from that game is beyond me. It was what you call a smash and grab from Aberdeen, but it has to be said that I think Aberdeen were very lucky to win that game, and what I could tell was the Aberdeen fans that I've spoken to, they were very deflated. There was a lot of deflated Aberdeen fans on Twitter, thinking that they got away with one, and quite frankly, they did. And the thing is, Livingston are creating chances, but we're just not taking them. And this is the kind of game where chances you will have to take them, because I think chances will be at a premium for this game. However, I do think that because Livingston are creating chances, surely some of those are going to go in. Sure, some of those are going to go in. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to predict a Livingston victory. Because they're away from home, I'm going to predict that they win this one. I think if they get an early goal, then who knows what would happen. But for me, I think Livingston will win this one, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Livingston. Call me crazy, call me anything you like, but that is what I think. I just think that Livingston have had so many chances lately against Rangers and Aberdeen. Obviously didn't take them, and the goals will start flying in soon. So maybe it could be this weekend, maybe. But for me, I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Livingston. Biased or not. Kilmarnock against Ross County. Now, in the last 5 between these two, there's in 2 wins to Kilmarnock, 2 wins to Ross County, and a draw. So they're fairly evenly matched. The last game was a humdinger. The last time, obviously, Ross County were in this league. It finished 3-2 to Kilmarnock. But things have changed ever so slightly ever since. Kilmarnock obviously going out to Hibs last night on penalties. Very, very unlucky. Very unlucky to go out. And then obviously losing 3-1 to Celtic after taking the lead there as well. So, but Kilmarnock are, they're starting to get results. They are starting to get results. But I don't think many people would have expected them to go to Celtic and won anyway. So, yeah. So it's one of those ones you'd have to say. Ross County, a very good away win against Motherwell. Obviously Motherwell were down to 10 men. Obviously Jake Carroll getting 2 yellows in a row, and obviously he went for an early bath, and then Ross County took advantage of that. So it's a very, very good win for Ross County, and they're slowly starting to pick themselves up after a wee bad run. So it's good to see. Very, very good to see Ross County get those. I think that's 2 wins in a row. Actually, they obviously beat St Mirren, and then they obviously beat Motherwell. So it's looking good for Ross County at the moment. This game, I mean, they're fairly evenly matched, and I can't really separate them. I think this is going to be a draw. I think it'll be a very, very tight game. I am going to say that it will be a score draw. I'm going for a 1-1 in this one. Kilmarnock 1, Ross County 1. Rangers against Aberdeen. The last 5 between these two. Again, these two are fairly evenly matched. It's 2 wins to Rangers, 2 wins to Aberdeen, and a draw in there for good measure. And the last game was a 2-0 win to Rangers at Ibrox. The big question about this game, though, will Alfredo Morelos manage to stay on the pitch for 90 minutes? I think he had a record last season where I think it was 3 red cards against Aberdeen, and most of those were against Scott McKenna. But obviously Scott McKenna is now injured, so obviously he will not play. He won't play against Scott McKenna this weekend. So, thing is though, Rangers have been very good recently. 3-1 against Livingston, 4-0 against St Johnstone last week, and Morelos was definitely the star of the show that one, and Ryan Jack as well. Defoe obviously getting 2 goals as well, which was very, very good. And then last night they beat Livingston by a goal to nil. They had to grind it out because Livingston did cause them a few problems and created a lot of chances as well. So, but Rangers are being very resolute at the back, and that's something that they have really improved on since last season. Is that they're very, very resolute at the back. They're very, very tight at the back. So Rangers have definitely improved in that aspect. Aberdeen, like I've said already, it was a smash and grab against Livingston, but obviously they won 2-0. But they did go out of the League Cup last night after being 2-1 up for so long in that game as well, and they basically lost on penalties. 3-0 on penalties as well, which was a bit worrying, considering that Cosgrove scored 2 penalties in that game as well. Was a bit worrying. However, it's going to be a very hard game for Aberdeen. I just think with the way Rangers are going at the moment, Rangers are on very, very good form, and I can't see anything other than a Rangers win here. I just think Rangers are playing really, really well, and I think it is going to be quite a comfortable win for Rangers. Don't be surprised when Morelos gets on the score sheet, and don't be surprised if maybe Defoe gets on the score sheet as well. He's on a very good run as well. But for me, I know Aberdeen give Rangers a really hard time of it. I think they won at Ibrox last season, but I don't see them winning this one this weekend. So I'm going for Rangers 3, Aberdeen 0. St Johnstone against Motherwell. Now the last 5 between these two, it's quite interesting. St Johnstone have won 3 and Motherwell have won 2, and the last game was a 2-0 win to St Johnstone. So that's something that St Johnstone can definitely take into this one. St Johnstone obviously losing 4-0 to Rangers last weekend, but count themselves a little bit unlucky that one of those didn't go in, especially the one that Stephen Davis clears off the line. It's well over the line. You can quite clearly see that the whole of the ball was behind the line, but Davis clears it, and it was in the back of the net, so that should have been a goal. But they are definitely improving ever so slightly, and I think wins will soon come for them, and it'll be interesting to see how they do in this one. Motherwell losing 2-1 to Ross County, and obviously having Jake Carroll sent off, so he will be missing for the game against St Johnstone. So I would expect Stephen Robinson to obviously shuffle at the back, and it'll be interesting to see who he starts in this one. Now, it says St Johnstone need wins. Definitely need wins very, very soon. I think this could be the weekend St Johnstone finally pick up their first win of the season, and Motherwell are on a wee bit of a sticky spell. Obviously losing to Ross County, which was a bit of a shock, but I think St Johnstone will probably win this one. I don't think there'll be many goals in it, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to St Johnstone because I don't think Motherwell have won at McDermott Park for a wee while, so I think I'm going to go for a St Johnstone win. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to St Johnstone, and I think that will be St Johnston's first win of the season, so we shall see what happens in that one. And the final game of the weekend, all these games are Saturday, in fact, there's no Sunday games this weekend. It's St Mirren against Hearts. Now, the last 5 between these two have resulted in 1 win to St Mirren, 2 draws, and 2 wins to Hearts. Surprisingly, the last game between the sides was a 2-0 victory to St Mirren last season. Well, what can I say? St Mirren, no, Hamilton nil last time out, and basically they had chances to win it. As did Hamilton, but a 0-0 draw. not too surprising. In all honesty, struggling to score goals in the moment. St Mirren as well, which is a bit of a concern. Hearts, what a win against Hibs. Aaron Hickey obviously scoring the winner. It did take a deflection, but it's a big win for Hearts because it did move them up to ninth place, or was it 8th place? I think it did move them up a couple of places. So does this put the pressure off Craig Levein? No, I don't think it does. I think it's a stay of execution for sure. But I do think Craig Levein is still under pressure. So I think this is this will be an interesting game, but I don't know. Hearts are not consistent enough, and I just have a feeling. I looked at the stats actually. Hearts haven't beaten St Mirren at St Mirren for 9 years. 29th of December 2010, they won 2-0 that day. I don't think Hearts are that consistent yet, and I think obviously they did get through to the League Cup semis where they play Rangers. So could we have an All-Ireland final? That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Or we are going to get an All-Firm final, which I think is probably what people would have probably expected. But Hearts can put themselves in good mind. Obviously, Craig Halkett scoring that equaliser for Hearts last night as well to take them to extra time and then obviously penalties as well. So yeah, it's a very interesting game, this one. But I can't separate them. I think because of Hearts' recent poor record against St Mirren at St Mirren, I can only really see a draw in this one. St Mirren are struggling to score goals, and they're struggling to win games, whereas Hearts just need a little bit of consistency. But for me, I do think it'll be a very, very tight game, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between St Mirren and Hearts. So, and actually, don't be surprised if either of these teams maybe wins it 1-0. It is that tight. A game that those two would play. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw between St Mirren and Hearts. So that is it. That is my game week 7 predictions. Just go quickly through them very, very quickly. Hibs 0, Celtic 2, Hamilton 0, Livingston 3, but that is very optimistic. We will see what happens with that one. Kilmarnock 1, Ross County 1, Rangers 3, Aberdeen 0, St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 0, and St Mirren 1, Hearts 1. So thank you very much for watching my match week 7 predictions. If you do want to have your predictions, then put them in the comment section below. That would be fantastic. And please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. That would be much appreciated as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back very, very soon with some more videos. Take care, everyone.